Hi, I'm teacher Farah Youssef. We are going to discuss a new grammar skill today. Our lesson is about the simple past tense. At the end of this grammar session, students should be able to identify and use the simple past tense and form prep. What is the simple past tense? Simply, the simple past tense expresses an action that happened and ended at a specific time in the past. So, an action that happened and finished at a specific time in the past. For example, in 2006, people in South Lebanon suffered the Israeli bombardment. Look here at this time expression. Okay? It's a specific time here. We mention a specific time in the past, so the verb here is in the simple past tense because something happened in the past and finished at a specific time. Of course, we use the simple past tense when we mention when something happened. Why? Because when we mention when something happened, this is related to a specific time in the past. Because the simple past tense expresses an action that happened and finished at a specific time in the past. This is also related to some expressions. Some of these expressions, for example, we have long ago, an hour ago, a year ago, 3 days ago, etc. So whenever I see an expression related to or includes the word ago, okay, this is related to the simple past tense. Last year, last month, last Sunday, last night, whatever it is. So these are also expressions related to the past tense. Yesterday morning, when I was born, in 1990, for example, when I mention previous date, like here in the example above. What are the three forms of the simple past tense? First, we have the regular form, the irregular form of the verb, and then the constant verb form. Regular past tense. What do you mean by regular verbs? A regular verb is the verb that can follow the rule by adding ed at the end of it. Mainly the general rule is by adding ed when I want to change it from the present form or base form to the past tense. When the verb ends with two consonant letters, okay, here I usually add ed. For example, walk, it becomes walked in the past. Walk, it ends with two consonant letters. I add ed at the end of it when I want to change it from present to past. So, in present, walk, in past, walked. Number 2, or B, if a verb ends in E, what happened? Add only D. Why? Because it is already ends in E, so just add D at the end of the verb. For example, dance, danced. If the verb ends with one vowel and one consonant and it's composed of only one syllable, in this case, double the last consonant and then add ed. For example, stop. Look at this verb, stop. It's composed of one syllable and it ends with P, which is a consonant letter. And before this letter P, we have O, which is a vowel letter. Okay, so in this way, we have to double the last consonant letter. Double the P here, it becomes stopped. Double P, then add ED. What if the verb ends with two vowels and one consonant? Here we have to add ed only. For example, rain, rained. Here the verb ends with two vowels plus consonant. So here I can't double the N as a consonant letter. Look at the difference between these two verbs, stop and rain. Stop, it consists of one syllable. It ends with consonant and before the consonant letter, we have just one vowel letter. But here, we have two vowels before the consonant, so just add ed at the end of it. If the verb ends with a consonant plus y, change the y into I and then add ed. For example, carry. Look at the verb carry. It ends with y, and before y we have a consonant letter R. So here, drop or cross the y, replace I, and then add ed. If the verb ends with a vowel plus consonant, only add ed to avoid 3 vowels. Okay? Here, for example, stay, stayed. It ends with y, but before y here we have a, which is a vowel letter. So just add ed when you want to change from present to past. What about verbs that end with consonants w or x? Here we have only to add ed at the end, and don't double the consonant even if there's only one vowel letter before. For example, fix. It becomes fixed. Here, fix, it ends with consonant, and before the consonant we have vowel letter. But here, as an exception, because it ends in the letter X, here I can't double the X, okay? So just add ed. Also, for example, snow, snowed, okay? So it ends with X or W. Before it, we have a vowel letter, just add ed, don't double the consonant. Let us start our practice number 1. Write the verb between brackets in the past simple form. Before we start our practice, let us remember some important point, which is, of course, the simple past tense, the same rule applied for the subject when we have a singular subject or a plural subject. It differs from that of the present tense. So we have here, my mom studied French at university. So here the verb study, I have to change it into the past simple form. Study. It ends with y. Before y we have consonant letter. So we have to drop or cancel the y, replace it by I, and then add ed. Number 2, I phoned you yesterday, but you weren't at home. Phone here, it ends with e, so we have just add d. Children mix. Look here, I phoned my mom, which is a singular subject, studied children, which is a plural subject. So the simple past tense is the same with singular or plural subject. Children mix all the ingredients together. So here children is the subject, mix is the verb, it ends with x. Before it we have a vowel letter, but here I can't double the x. Why? Because this is an exception. I can't double the x here. Mixed. Last night, Maria and Alice plan for their holiday. Here, plan. What about the past simple form? It ends with n, which is a consonant letter. Before n, we have a vowel letter. It consists of only one syllable, so we have to double the n, which is the consonant letter. Irregular past tense. An irregular verb is the verb that doesn't form its past simple or the past participle by adding ed or d at the end of the verb. Some of these verbs, we have verb to be, in present is and are, in past was or were. And is, they become was, are, it becomes were. Come, came, get, got, go, went, know, knew, make, made, say, said, see, saw, take, took, think, thought. Also we have verb to have or has with the third person singular subject in present. Have or had, they become had. Do or does, did. Become, became. Come, came. Begin, began. Bring, brought. Catch, caught. Choose, chose. All these verbs, we can't add ed at the end of them when we want to change from present, okay, to the simple past tense. These are called irregular verbs. Let us start our practice here. Circle the correct form of the verb in brackets. Last week, I many books. I read or readed. Of course not. Here the verb read in present, I can't add ed at the end of it to make the simple past tense. So I have to choose here read, it becomes read. This is an irregular verb. The same spelling but different in pronunciation. Read in present, read in past. Number 2. He forgetted or forgot to buy milk for his baby. Here, of course, the verb forget, it can be forgetted, okay? It will become forgot in the past. Also, it's an irregular verb. She wrote, the verb write, or wrote an interesting story about animals. Here, of course, we can't say write. It becomes wrote in the past simple and not write it. This is also an irregular verb. They had or have a nice trip to the woods last spring. Here I use, of course, had and not have. Also, it's an irregular. Constant verbs. What do we mean by constant verbs? Constant, it means that they are the same. Okay, so what I mean by constant verbs here, verbs that are the same in present and in the past form. Some of these verbs, cut, put, cost, hurt. Okay, so look here at the verb cut in present and in past, put, they are the same in present and past form. Look here. How do you know that this verb is in present and this verb is in past? Of course, it's according to the content, to the sentence that we have. Change the sentences below into the simple past tense. Number 1, we moved to a new house. Look at the verb here, move. It ends with E, okay? So I just add D. He or we moved to a new house. He does not do the homework. He does not. Look here, does. It's in the present. We use does with the third person singular subject he. Okay, so do or does. This is an irregular verb. I have to change it into the past. Okay, he did not do the homework. My mom cuts the cake into 8 pieces. Here, cut, verb cut, is a constant verb, the same, present and past. But here we use s, we add s to the verb cut here because we have a singular subject, my mom. So my mom cut, it remains the same. My mom cut the cake into 8 pieces. They bring a sandwich to eat during the recess time. They bring, verb bring, brought. Okay, so this is also an irregular verb.